You cannot hide. The eyes are open. Kings of deception, you cannot hide. The eyes are open. We're now awakened from all your lies. All is shaking. People are rising. Truth is unfolding. Our eyes are open now. Deception. Great emancipation. No hiding, no faking, no lying. People are now aware. Nowhere for you to
A new season has begun, and while transformation is inevitable for many, your life will remain the same if this is the way you want it to be. However, you can change your life with a better plan from Lifeline Financial Programs. Begin fortnightly cash installments with any amount, then watch your finances multiply into thousands of dollars as you create a brand new future. Life is not a dream. You only get what you put in. We know you cannot do it alone. And this is why Lifeline Financial Programs created the best financial plans to help you transform your life. Guaranteed. Call us now at 540-4555 or email us at lifelinebvilimited@gmail.com for more information.
Lifeline Financial Programs, the gateway to a better future.
An absolute pleasure to be here with you again. It is a Monday evening, and every Monday evening at 8 p.m. we meet right here on PSI TV on this program called The Raw Truth where we examine the happenings across not only the Caribbean region or even in the BVI for that matter, but whatever is happening across the world. I think it is our duty to continue to examine and probe the happenings around us. We cannot afford to fall asleep. These are very, very serious times, and we have to be sure to remain in touch with exactly what is happening around us. This is not a joke, my beloved brothers and sisters. And with that said, let me welcome every one of you who are joining us right now. I'm seeing Elizabeth Bryan. I'm seeing Cara. I'm seeing Paul. I'm seeing my friends as you come in. Thank you so much for joining us right here on PSI Network. Please share this live. Share with everyone. Share, because this is going to be an absolutely very important discussion this evening. Let me first of all welcome and greet all our friends in the BVI. It's perhaps a little unusual to do this, but it is with much regard that I share this evening, and I embrace the people of the BVI in relation to what has been happening within the territory. It's perhaps a very sad time for many. And let me also say extend special greetings to the family of Andrew A. FAHIE. PSI TV extends best wishes to you, and we pray your endurance in this time of trouble. Yes? We heard the news of the incarceration of Premier Andrew A. FAHIE, Premier of the BVI. And it has literally sent myriads of waves across the world. I've never seen anything as significant as this. It has absolutely sent waves across the world. I've been getting calls from every corner. My phone hasn't stopped ringing as yet. My desk is filled with documents and all sorts of things as people reach out to us here at PSI TV in relation to what has been happening. Regardless of nationality, I'm sure all the people who are living within the territory right now, we are all in the same boat. We are all expressing, for the most part, the same sentiments. And the shock is currently, it's nothing we can avoid. And while we deal with that, it must be noted that the BVI is currently quite divided at this point. And it is necessary to point this out. We have three sects in the BVI. We have the local sect, which is also split down the middle because half is rejoicing and the other half is pretty sad. Half is rejoicing because maybe they didn't like Andrew. I don't know. Maybe they didn't like him. I don't know. But half is rejoicing, or some are. While the other half is very sad. You have the immigrant sect, which, like myself, most of all of us are currently in a deep state of shock. And the current mindset, as we examine exactly what is happening, is to see how this will work out to the benefit of all parties. Not locals or belongers, not immigrants, not the Caucasian or what you call them, the albino race. None of these. The immigrant nations or nation here within the BVI is currently very careful as to how this is going to work out for all of us. And this is very interesting. We also have the British sect. And it is very interesting that the British sect is very careful at this point to see things work in their favor where the British government takes over the territory. And it is yet to be understood that while BVI landers are fighting like hell to maintain control, the British sect living within the territory is currently literally praying that Britain takes over this territory. Now, it may be true because when the day is done, the immigration system, for example, which has prevented people from just walking into the territory. And you have to come in and get your permit like everybody else. The British citizens are having a problem with it because for the fact that they are British, they feel they're supposed to travel to the airport on their passport or their whatever else they use and walk in here and have a heyday. And the BVI governments all have put a hook into that situation to prevent not only British citizens from just walking in and taking over the place technically, or to deprive, in quotes, BVI landers and locals, which I want these terms to be abolished for good. Not only to see and the honorable governments of this nation reserve the right to protect their own people. So if it means that whether it be British or immigrants from wherever else in the world they are who wish to travel here, at least there has to be some guidelines as to how you manage the resources and how you manage the territory. I might be the only fool who is speaking like this. Normally, locals and belongers probably have a problem that immigrants want to come in here and do what they want to do. Kenny don't support that kind of bulls, you see. There has to be order. And when the day is done, like Canada, which has opened its borders in recent time to anybody who wants to come. The BVI is a very small place. Currently, we have a 30,000+ resident population, to include immigrants. And immigrants perhaps account for maybe 70% of this 30,000. Perhaps about 70%, 67 to 70%, or 65 to 70%, thereabout. The greater part of this territory is immigrant. Yes. Now, for the fact that the territory is trying to protect itself and protect its people, and I would need to see, as a matter of importance, the local and belonger scenario destroyed. Why am I saying this? Anyone who lives within the territory belongs to the territory. Period. I don't care who you are, where you come from, whatever else. As long as you have lived here over a certain time, you belong to the territory. Rather, if a local's head hurt, my head hurt. I haven't slept since Thursday night since I got this news. Huh? And locals probably feel that immigrants don't care. You have some darn good immigrants around here who are amazingly loving and caring, like myself. And we don't care to see locals hurt, BVI landers hurt, whatever you want to call yourself. But the stigma that is attached to Dung Island people and them ain't from here, all that crap. If the only thing in the book I need to see Britain eradicate is this crap about who from here and not from here. It needs to stop. There has to be respect for immigrants who have been keeping things alive here for years. The very inception and development of the BVI, from the bird sanctuary it was, depended on immigrants. And tonight, I lift my hat to all the immigrants who have contributed to this territory in a way that is absolutely 100% unique. I lift my hat to you. And for those of us who are still here and not earning much and still abused by some locals who think you crawl out of some hole, when some of you actually have lands and all kinds of things left back in your country where you came from, it's because you love this territory while you're here. I heard the same sentiment in the protest this morning. And of course, if you didn't love the place, you wouldn't be here. I'm here for 16 years. And if I didn't respect warm-hearted, beautiful BV Island, the BVI people, because you have some beautiful, warm-hearted BVI people. They are here. Not everybody are crooks and criminals and drug lords and kingpins. Hell no. And these points must be made absolutely amazingly clear. Right? I think the image which has been created across the world is to a greater extent highly unreasonable in relation to what has been happening to hard-working local people who have been sweating for what they want like hell, and if they don't earn, they can't eat. And there are many such people here within this territory who are currently well deserving of honor for their conduct. Nonetheless, we will from time to time find some of the things which we have found here, like it is in Britain, like it is in Barbados, like it is in Jamaica, like it is in the United States of America and Canada and everywhere else. It's not unique. So why paint the territory with a big brush? BVI is a drug heaven. We need to cut the bulls and stop being stupid. I think the time is right for us to cut the crap. It's not worth it. The BVI is an absolutely beautiful place. And from what I have seen over the past 16 years, credit should be given for the way things have been conducted here by well-thinking people. Minus the idiots, because you'll have them all the time. Welcome to the raw truth for those of you who are not quite as accustomed to practical, hardcore reasoning. Welcome. If this is your first time here, please share. If this is your first time here, please go to our Facebook page or Facebook channel and like the channel. Click the subscribe button and share with your friends, because this will get absolutely very interesting tonight. So on the general front, this is where we are. And, for those people who are rejoicing, I need to say this as well. My deceased grandmother always say, every dog have them day and every puss have them 4 o'clock. You ever hear that one? Every dog have them day and every puss have them 4 o'clock. Be careful how you rejoice when your enemy fall or go down. If you want to make me your enemy and something happen to me, be careful how you rejoice. Because every dog have them day and every puss have them 4 o'clock. Remember I said it to you. So for all my local friends who are having a heyday, that the Honorable, well, if you want to call him Honorable, that's another thing. But Premier Andrew A. Foy was incarcerated. Some of you are having a heyday that happened. Be very careful. Remember the list. Interrogation is going on. You don't know whose name is going to call. I tell you, you think trouble start yet? You think trouble really start in this territory yet? You pause for 2 minutes. Let me take you into the region, OECS. There was an article, and I can, let me post it here for you. And it is coming out of the OECS, and I commend my brothers and sisters in the OECS for posting this document. It says OECS says direct colonial rule is bad idea. The OECS has spoken out. And the Organization of Eastern States, OECS, has released a statement on the ongoing situation in the BVI. The OECS has noted the position taken by the duly elected government of the BVI, which, while welcoming the recommendations arising from the inquiry, rejects the intention of the British government to impose direct rule on the BVI. That is coming out of the OECS. As you can see them there unitedly. They are standing with the BVI in relation to this matter. Yes? And we appreciate the OECS for taking that position. Yes, because when the day is over, it needs to be sent home absolutely very clearly to Britain, that this be understood, that not only are BVI landers, locals, immigrants, all who live within the territory are having a problem with direct rule, because it takes you right back into slavery, if you ask me. The days of British rule, Spanish rule, French rule, these days are done, 2020. As a matter of fact, we have the Honorable Barrister at Law on the line with us. And he's going to be stripping some very important information to help us understand exactly what is happening, where we are in time in relation to this whole colonialism thing, which has been, which continues to permeate Central Americas, chiefly by Britain in overseas territories. And those are many. And while I have no problems with Britain, as a matter of fact, how can I blame Britain? And I'm going to sound very funny here for a minute. But if each overseas territory has or reserves the right to go independent, but the overseas territories, as we call them currently, choose to remain British colonies, who do you blame? Is it that any land can go totally independent? No. Do we really need Britain? No. Why? Because Britain currently can hardly maintain itself. Much the more to ship around millions of dollars to overseas territories to maintain them. The parents has won all British territories across the world. Why are we still stuck hanging on to the Queen's frack tail, crying mama, 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 titi, titi, milk, milk? What the hell are we doing? Who do you blame? Who do you blame? Britain or yourself? I'm speaking to the BVI and all overseas territories. If the BVI has maintained itself over the past 50 years and has transformed itself from a bird sanctuary to one of the most reputable financial institutions in the world, why do we need Britain? And I'm saying this with all respect. I'm sure many of our British friends are watching. Good evening. Yes? But let's reason. I think the time has come for us to reason. And my question to the BVI is, why do you think you need to remain a British overseas territory, given the fact that you are sitting on trillions of dollars to maintain yourself? You earned it. What is the problem? I'm asking some very practical questions here, because when the day is done, none of this is making any sense to me. And Britain is only going to dictate to any overseas territory simply because they see them as dependent territories. Who made the territories that way? The people within the territories. Who will be responsible for liberating ourselves from British rule? The people. How tired are you to beg mama for milk and mama not studying you? How tired are you? The hurricane came and went the other day and everybody gets slapped in the face. How much money did we get? Of course, Britain probably gave some loans, I'm sure. The then governor told the BVI that, oh, you have a robust social security fund. So Britain is not maintaining anybody. It has its own problems. Who do we now blame? All right. So these are some of the very practical questions that we ask. Now, when you look back home, and we are going to take a break and get right back into the meat of the matter, yes? But before we do so, we have a lot of serious questions here. In less than 1 week after the incarceration of Premier Andrew A. Foy, the Virgin Islands Party has removed Andrew as their chairman. And the deputy premier, the Honorable Natalia Wheatley, now officially installed as chairman of the party. This is quite interesting. The party is now calling for the resignation of Andrew A. Foy to allow for the installment of the deputy premier, the Honorable Natalia Wheatley, and of course they want to have him installed as premier of the territory. The Honorable Natalia Wheatley made a statement the other day, and I think it is important that we look at this statement, which was made by the Honorable Natalia Wheatley. Check this out.
Good night and God's blessings to the people of the Virgin Islands. I address you tonight with another update on the very important matters that have been taking place over the past few days. Those being with respect to the leadership of the government of the Virgin Islands and with respect to the recommendations of the Commission of Inquiry, which are due for discussions with officials from the United Kingdom on Monday. Notwithstanding all that is taking place, the business and interests of the Virgin Islands and the Virgin Islands people come first. In this regard, the elected members of the government have been engaged in various meetings to set our course for moving forward. We recognize that given the practical realities of the current Premier's situation, it is incumbent that steps be taken to have a new Premier substantively appointed to this critical constitutional post. The Virgin Islands has several pressing issues requiring urgent and devoted attention, not the least of which is the discussions with the United Kingdom on the Commission of Inquiry recommendation, and this requires leadership on the ground. I wish to advise you that the Congress of the Virgin Islands Party met earlier tonight and they unanimously voted for me to assume the mantle of chairman of the VIP. I wish to thank the members of the Congress and my elected colleagues for their support. The elected members have expressed the view that I should be appointed Premier, and we will be taking steps in this regard. Efforts are underway to seek the resignation of Honorable Andrew A. Foy as Premier of the Virgin Islands, as this would facilitate the smooth advancement of the process. All my elected colleagues in the government have expressed their support and confidence in me, and we have all reiterated our commitment to working together in the best interest of the Virgin Islands and the Virgin Islands people. I do wish to ask that we continue to keep Honorable Foy, his wife and children in our prayers as they deal with their present circumstances.
Now, let me welcome those of you who just joined us. And it's very interesting that this happened in less than a week after the incarceration of Premier Andrew A. Foy. Now, it seems to me that the VIP party has resolved it in their own minds that it is not worth having the incarcerated Premier sitting in, should he be released, as not only president of the VIP party, but as Premier of the territory. It's very clear that they're sending a very strong message. Days after his incarceration. I find this absolutely very interesting. And goodness gracious. While that is popping, so much more is happening on the ground. as we examine some of these things. I'm going to take a short break, and when we come back, we're going to be bringing in the panel, and we're going to dig a little deeper into the current happenings as they unfold coming out of the office of the governor. That is a very interesting development. And to all our friends listening in from Dominica, yes, all our friends listening from Dominica, Jamaica, Barbados, Trinidad, across the entire Caribbean region, Canada, USA, Africa, wherever you're listening in from, welcome. We take a short break. We come back in a moment.
Everything around us is changing. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
A new season has begun, and while transformation is inevitable for many, your life will remain the same if this is the way you want it to be. However, you can change your life with a better plan from Lifeline Financial Programs. Begin fortnightly cash installments with any amount, then watch your finances multiply into thousands of dollars as you create a brand new future. Life is not a dream. You only get what you put in. We know you cannot do it alone. And this is why Lifeline Financial Programs created the best financial plans to help you transform your life. Guaranteed. Call us now at 540-4555 or email us at lifelinebvilimited@gmail.com for more information.
Lifeline Financial Programs, the gateway to a better future.
Welcome back, and to all our friends who are just joining us, we welcome you to PSI Online, PSI Network, PSI TV, and the program tonight and every Monday evening, The Raw Truth, heard right here on PSI TV at 8 p.m. every Monday evening. If you did not know that, please subscribe to our YouTube channel, that whenever we send out notifications, you will be first to get them. All right. Now, tonight we have with us some very interesting guests, and I'm going to be introducing each of them to you in a minute. But I think before we get to that, I must note that this morning we had a very interesting protest here in the BVI. The people say, hell no, we don't want a British rule. We don't want a governor Britain to govern us from wherever in hell they are. And it's noteworthy that the people of the BVI, though docile they say they are, got up and started raising hell. I found that very interesting, and it is a good sign that people, regardless of what you think about them, they know exactly what they want. And if the BVI has come as far as it has come on its own, technically, expanding and building and growing and developing as it has done over the years, then the people perhaps would have very good reason to say we don't want what they don't want, and it needs to be respected. They don't want a partial suspension of the Constitution and thus the scrapping of the government. The community has become increasingly united on the matter, and there is no telling what may happen in the coming days if things go otherwise. I find this to be something to watch very closely, because BVI people is not a set to play with. They might appear to be crazy, but when the day is done, don't play with them. They're serious. They're not a bunch of jokers. They know exactly what they want. As local administrators pull themselves together to keep things in place, many are asking if they can put their political aspirations aside to protect what is left of the BVI. In other words, there has been a thing within the political parties, I think it's everywhere, where some political leaders will start getting ideas when things start falling apart, who want to step up a notch who want to become this or become that. And that normally destroy the good relations within political parties. I wonder if BVI politicians will be able to keep their heads together unitedly to focus on the issue at hand, to bring the territory to a place where it can be comfortable. These are some of the questions that folks are asking. And finally, on the local front, while all this is taking place, some may be experiencing great uneasiness at this point, based on the documented report submitted by the undercover DEA agents. And it must be understood that when the day is over, although names have not been called or recorded publicly, but if this pursues, if the interrogation pursues, the DEA agents are going to try to get to the bottom of this in a way that might be a little frightening to some people. I don't think this is done yet. Mark my words. I don't think it's done yet. I think a lot more is going to unfold before this is over. And you're talking about DEA agents, you're talking about the COI as well, which is set based on the governor. And I think it might be appropriate at this point to bring him in, because he is actually set to look into the results of the commission of inquiry, which may result in an investigation being launched into the affairs of government 2-3 seasons before this one. So what is going to happen if government officials from the previous administration or the season before that one will be called in for judgment in relation to some of the things which were done? These are very interesting questions to ask. And if it is set, from what I heard in the COI's report, that they might be prosecuting government officials for fraudulent behavior, then this is not over. If it is not the DEA agents, it is going to be the COI, Commission of Inquiry report, which, if it's not one thing, it's the next. It's quite interesting to watch this. Now let us look a little deeper at the Commission of Inquiry. The governor of the BVI, Governor John Rankin, has plans in place to publish the report of the coming out of the Commission of Inquiry. That should have been later this month. However, upon receiving report that the Premier Andrew A. Foy was arrested, he changed his mind and released the recommendations made by the Commission. The document is very long. However, there are some overarching recommendations which were made by the Commission. And I think it's appropriate here to bring that in to set the tone of the discussion. Now, this is what the governor had to say.
Overall, the Commissioner in his report finds that the elected government in successive administrations has sought to avoid good governance. He says that in terms of governance, the people of the BVI have been served very badly in recent years, and that almost everywhere the principles of good governance, such as openness, transparency, and the rule of law, are ignored. He concludes that it is highly likely that serious dishonesty may have taken place across a broad range of government, and that there is information that a substantial number of elected officials may be involved. He makes recommendations for further investigations and possible criminal prosecution in several cases. The Commissioner makes 45 specific recommendations on how to address each of these areas of concern that his report identifies. And I know that people in the BVI will wish to look at these in detail. But in addition to the 45 specific recommendations, the Commissioner also makes 4 overarching recommendations. These are recommendations, and I should stress that decisions on them are yet to be made and will be the subject of discussions in the coming days. But these are his 4 overarching recommendations. First, he has concluded with a particularly heavy heart that unless the most urgent and drastic steps are taken, the current situation with elected officials deliberately ignoring the tenets of good governance, will go on indefinitely. He notes that the people of the BVI deserve better, and that the UK government owes them an obligation to protect them from such abuses and assist them to achieve their aspirations for self-government as a modern democratic state. He states that the continuation of the current situation will adversely affect those aspirations, and that the only way in which the relevant issues can be addressed is for there to be a temporary, partial suspension of the Constitution. He accordingly recommends dissolution of the House of Assembly and cessation of ministerial government for an initial period of 2 years. During that period, he recommends a governor-led administration with such assistance as the governor considers appropriate. For example, an advisory council to advise him on the formulation of policy and the exercise of his official functions. The advisory council should reflect BVI civic society. And the Commissioner also urges the Governor to draw primarily on the pool of public service talent in the BVI to advise and aid him.
All right, so let me stop it there, because that is the main concern. The main concern within the territory is not even what the recommendations are, for that matter. I don't think BVI Islanders care much what the recommendations are. What they care about is the fact that their constitution, that's a whole other matter, will be suspended temporarily, and government will be put on hold for 2 years. And they're saying, hell no, we are not putting up with this. Now let me open the line here to our guests. And the focus tonight is going to be on the recommendations as presented. One is the cancelling of the Constitution and the freezing of government for 2 years. 2, early and speedy review of the Constitution. These are the overarching recommendations. Speedy constitutional reform to ensure that such abuses and as identified do not reoccur. 3, curtailment of the open-ended discretionary powers held by public officials, including cabinet. And 4, series of audits and investigations, which may rise in due course to further with further steps to include criminal investigation. Now this, and the criminal investigation is coming out of the COI's report, which from where I sit, perhaps might be the greater of the evils right here. Because for those of our local people who were involved in any projects and all of these things, and some things were shoved under the rug, and maybe they thought these are dead. No one is studying those. Now the wall is being brought back into question, the high school wall. Other such projects, the airport, is being brought back into question. And I could go on. Let me introduce my panel. First on the list, we have, goodness gracious, Brother Barrister Denisio Bryson. How are you doing, my brother?
I'm fine. I am I want to say to the people of the BVI, bon voyage. I live on St. Martin. I am currently in Curaçao. We are in exactly the same position you guys are, but we are a little more advanced because for the past 4 years, my foundation has been challenging the Dutch state in court about these very same issues of self-governance. And because of that struggle, we have reached the breakthrough point where we believe that we have the tools that we can extend to you guys right now to get you out of the situation you are in.
Wow. Thank you so much for your concern, my brother. And I must welcome all our concerned friends from across the world. Goodness gracious. People are lined up here from all across the region and the rest of the world, and we welcome you. We also have on the form Godite Spirit, Paul Peart. He's a social analyst, and he has been fighting this war for years. He was living in the BVI. He left, went abroad, and continues to connect with the territory on issues. And people are now realizing that everything this man said happened. My brother, greetings. How you doing?
Greetings, Kenny. I know what is a very sad day, a very sad time to know that I shouted from the top of the hills so many years ago about the British coming, and I was told by these bourgeois, these elites, that I'm talking rubbish. The British is not coming. And now our eyes are seeing that they're even in the waters with their warship as we speak right now. The governor is laughing at our people. Our ancestors are rolling in their grave because all this victory that they've accomplished has been given away by these bastards who were put in place to ensure the inheritance of our people remain with us. It's a sad day, Kenny.
My brother, it's not a joke at all. And it needs to be highlighted that as brother Denisio mentioned earlier, they're actually in the same struggle, but somehow with consistency. From what he's saying, they are looking at a victory somehow. We have brother Willie in Canada, and he also is a Caribbean man who has been not only watching what is happening around Canada with all of this crazy thing with the truckers and everything else, but his eyes are everywhere across the region, and of course he would have quite a bit to share in this light as well. Greetings, my brother. How are you?
Greetings. You're hearing me?
Very well. If you could come a little closer, it might make you a little louder.
Okay. Yeah, man. Greetings and greetings to your guest, Godzilla, and the other gentleman.
Aye.
Just to get the ball rolling, let me tell you something. It's time that we wake up and smell the coffee, as they would say. All of this that you see are happening is a part of the whole plan for global takeover. Don't be a fool and think this is limited to BVI. It's a crumbling and a taking over, step by step, a control of the entire globe. That is the aim for 2030. So what you see happening in BVI and somebody just says, not just in the gentleman, your guest just said it's happening to where he is. That's what I'm talking about. So yes, expect more of the same. You're gonna hear it everywhere. And it doesn't must have to come in the same order and the same style, but that is exactly the plan.
Absolutely great observation, and of course, I hope our brothers and sisters across the world are making note of this. I have Etta Pemberton on the line as well, but she's not in the broadcast studio. So until she gets in, we're gonna move on. Now, there are 4 overarching recommendations, and this is where I think the BVI is having a very serious problem, because the first one, which recommends that the Constitution be temporarily cancelled, yes, and government be abolished for 2 years, in layman's terms. And after Britain gets in and does what it has to do, then it will hand over, as it did in other cases, back the structure to the people. Now, the people are saying, hell no, we don't want you to scrap constitution and scrap our government. We reserve the right to continue to do what we have to do the way we have been doing it. What you can do if you want to help us is to work with us as you fix these areas. And then when you are done, you can set us on our way to continue doing what we have to do. Let me go to Brother Paul and have you comment on this, because I think when the day is done, it should be with clarity that we understand the notion in a way that is going to make sense, not only to the people on the ground, but to the people outside the BVI. What is the implication of the first overarching recommendation? Talk with us.
Yeah. Well, first and foremost, we must understand why all of a sudden the British Virgin Islands is this nice, beautiful place that the British care about. And Sir Hickenbottom said that it is his great displeasure that he has to step in, and the British Virgin Islands people need to be taken care of better. What a bag of hogwash! If that is not hogwash, I don't know what hogwash is. No. We all know why the British are there. The financial institution have grown tremendously and have really, really, really blossomed into some beautiful fruits. And the British have been standing aside for a while and admiring these fruits. And because they left that place as a bird sanctuary, they were embarrassed to just come in and take it. So they had to cook up a plan. Now, when Nicolas Sarkozy and David Cameron met the last time the British was inside the EU, Nicolas Sarkozy was the president of the EU, and he said to David Cameron, hey, David, the UK is inside of this EU, but the 54 Commonwealth is not being paid for. Are you guys going to pay for it? A huge squabble break out. It was a big outburst. David Cameron said, "You're mad. These jewels will never be touched." After that, we hear about what? Brexit, right? The British pack the bag and they take up the stolen goods, which is the Commonwealth countries that they have been barbarically ruling like some Brutus for years. No passion at all, no love for our people. And they stormed out and say, bye, Europe. Now, this land grab is what we're seeing it for what it is by these unscrupulous Vikings, aka the British. Has the Commonwealth been re-oiled and ready to run? They have put in place this mechanism from 2009 where they seized Turks and Caicos and they took it away. The British Virgin Islands was warned that these overseas territories are becoming too prosperous on their own, and they need so-called guidance. After the hurricane 2017, the Russian left $30 billion, and that is when all hell broke loose under our people. For the recommendation that the UK is suggesting, I would suggest that they revisit that the Bank of Barclays was inside the British Virgin Islands alongside the CIBC Bank that has paid all the merchants for the stocks and bonds that we are to them. And what the audacity of the British to come at this time about good governance. This is getting me very, Very, very angry. And why I'm angry is not even at the British per se, but it's our brothers and sisters who sit idly and play tit and toddle, twiddly taddly. And this is where we're at because the British was never our friends. They've never cared about our people. They've never, ever, ever cared about us. Notice the hurricane destroyed the island, and I, as a resident who was living there, the British has never put out a check to say, Kenny, here's 10, at least not to my knowledge. And if our brothers and sisters in the British Virgin Islands in government is unscrupulous, the onus is on them, not on us, the people. So as far as the recommendation by the British, it is pure hogwash. It's a land grab, plain and straight.
Let me go to brother to brother Willie. What's your take on it? What are you seeing? What's coming out of Canada? Tell me.
No, we're not hearing. If it wasn't God's eye, I would not be. And yourself, I would not be aware of what is happening. Apart from, of course, you see it in the news about. I think he's the premier, FAHIE.
Yes, as outlined in the introduction. Yes.
Yes, that he was arrested on drug charge. But I said to God's eye on his program this morning, you know, follow the plan. Problem, reaction, solution. Problem, reaction, solution. That's how they work in the system. Check it out. From history, come right back. And division. Because as I look in the comment section, what the people had to say, both about John Klein, I think he is, the pastor, and what the comments that they're making, you can see that the people are so divided that they sound like they want to cut each other's throat. And that is the biggest problem with us black people. Because we have never wake up and understand how these people function. You divide and conquer, or you create a problem and then you give them the solution. How is it that this man just got charged, he's a diplomat, just got charged on drug trafficking or whatever, and in no time, the British are there, and they have dissolved the constitution for 2 years. Where else have you ever seen in modern history things like that happening? I don't remember it. I don't know about you, but I don't remember anything happening so fast. So
I tell you what, and this may be it would be for your benefit and for others who are joining us as well. Mm-hmm. There was a commission of inquiry, mm-hmm, which was conducted before this took place. Mm-hmm. However, this what I'm looking at is the synchronization of the matters, because mm-hmm, now, boom, the COI, that report was completed. Boom, Foy got arrested. Mm-hmm. Boom, no sooner than he gets arrested, out comes the report, and boom, 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 boom. You
suspend constitution and all of that.
You watch the synchronicity of all of these things.
That's what I'm saying.
And, it makes it very interesting to examine. Chief Goddess, what are you saying? Talk with us.
No, this is why it's so good to have boots on the ground. And I must commend you, Kenny, alongside people like Etta Pemberton, Clavis, you know what I mean, Heritage, the whole grassroots movement. Because, like for Willie, for instance, in Canada, just seeing what the headlines are writing, Premier caught with drugs, British Virgin Islands upset. This is all rubbish. This started because the people of the honest, hard-working people of that beautiful territory wanted transparency, Willie. They wanted governance that would bring change. The Honorable Andrew Foy, he ran and that tagline, change is now. Now, we have seen this all over the Caribbean, where politicians who swear to the Queen don't have no powers at all. What happened after We asked for transition because this is the second march that is going. We said the first march was to take out the politicians who were making the bad decisions so we could see our way through. What happened and what is going on? You said that black people love to fight against black people. Maroons don't fight against maroons. What has happened is we have a lot of Oreo cookies and coconuts among the maroons who love our oppressors more than how they love themselves.
That's right.
And there lies the problem now in the BVI.
That's the division.
No, but here is what the problem is. You have some elite people, aka aristocrat. Look how hard Kenny work in the British Virgin Islands and supposed to get $1 million. He will never deserve it in these people's eyes. These people use materialistic foolishness to destroy the territory. The territory is not separated. The people are fed up with the 1%ers in the territory who keep messing it up for the 99.9. It is, we don't have a problem. We have a section of people who feel like they're entitled. Not hardworking people I'm talking about. I'm talking about some lazy vagabonds, and we're going to call their names on our International Morning Ride show every morning so the people them can know what's going on, who have hated the progress of our people when we combine together. British Virgin Islands has 150 different nationalities living there when I was there, Kenny. You and I know that. And if that territory wanted help, they would have abundance of help. But the leaders have divided our people through religion with Bishop Klein, through finance with benefits and spoils, and then with nationality. It is disheartening to hear people in the modern time, just like how the British is trying to seize the place, telling you, I FAHIE, you know, my last name is, that is not national pride. That is the height of ignorancy. And the politicians have hugged these nasty sentiments. And now the chicken is coming back to roost. The country look like it's divided, but we're not divided. It's just the elite 1% who need to be put out to the crown and let the crown deal with these criminals and leave the territory, because our ancestors are very, very edgy right now. The British should know that they will see a war on their hand like never before. So they be better tread carefully, because this is not just a pride, a love for our brothers and sisters in the BVI. It's about the accomplishment of our people. We reach too far to have these oppressors who haven't paid their slave bills telling us they want to come and rule for 2 years. Get behind me, Satan. Get thee behind me.
Well, brother, I think on that note, we can take a break. When we come right back, we're going to bring in Sister Pemberton. And she's a local. She lives here in the territory. And trust me, she knows exactly what is going on the ground. Teeth for, what do you call it? Tooth for nail. Tooth and nail. This is not going to be a joke. Stay connected. We'll come right back in a minute. And when we come back, we continue right here on PSI TV with the raw truth. Don't touch Sarah dial. Welcome back, and of course, we have quite a bit happening here tonight. This is an absolutely interesting presentation. There is we have 3 very important guests, or 4, if I should say, and it is not a joke tonight. I'm watching our friends on the chat, and goodness gracious, you see some thoughts coming through here, which is not a joke at all. Of course, in a while, we'll be featuring these. But let me welcome Madam Pemberton. Greetings to my beloved sister. How are you?
Greetings. I'm fine.
How is it in your neck of the woods? Them say the BVI, burning fire, all kind of things, stone and brimstone are fall all about. What you seeing in your neck of the woods down there? Talk to me.
Well, I've been seeing a little motion, quiet start. I'm not seeing the togetherness. I'm not seeing the glue as yet. And as Gada did said, that probably because of the amount of bashing and name calling and the bad treatment, people, don't want to come forward and support this endeavor,
So you're saying there is
which is
still
freedom for
fear.
all.
You're saying that there is still fear on the ground in relation to what locals feel, think, how they move. That level of apprehension, perhaps, is that what you're seeing?
Yeah, because even for those that say that, okay, we love the country, I personally wanted to be a part of, but when I look at, the environment of who I saw there, I say, and we have to do things the right way, and yes, the country came to a halt when the premier was arrested, but it seems to me that his party threw him to the dogs. I never see anything like that.
No, but hold on a little bit now, because now you're onto something here. I've never seen, apart from the deputy premier coming out and saying, okay, let us pray on behalf of the family and blah, blah, blah. I have not seen a collective coming out of the party in relation to their premier.
No, and that is the scariest part. That show that they are, from my perspective, is showing that they are fair, in my book. But that's my opinion. That is my opinion. But if you are a strong team and you know you're not caught up in any of the foul feather shit, as they one hit, that's what we wanted to see, representation of the people by the people. And they all should have come out on the same day as a team in front of the whole BVI and say, hey, we are here. We got your back. In spite of what took place, we're going to stand firm. We're going to stand firm for the people of the BVI because they know this is a war. They know this is a takeover. And it seemed to me like they think it's a joke, it's a game, and as I keep on saying, we don't have no military, we don't have no fighting force, and most of the people that working in the said force, the protective force, is people from the same down island. You have probably 2% of their own local that is in the force. So you think they're going to risk themselves to get choked by the said BV Islanders? They're not going to do it. And too many people are playing blind, dumb, deaf. We've been crying out. We've been telling them. We've been exposing the situation. And all I've been getting is keep your mouth shut, keep off the radio, keep off the television. But it's affecting, well, I even get chastised for saying that the country is a joke because I ain't seen anybody pushing for the right. Because as the gentleman from St. Martin rightly said, once they step in is hell work to remove them.
So hold on. You're saying to me that one, you feel it might be perhaps an insult to, regardless of what happens, an insult to the premier, a slap to his face, the way it has been handled within 3 days, 4 days after his incarceration. Bam! They remove him as
because he was the one that brought them in. If it wasn't for the premier that went and handpicked, I don't look at life as simple. I look at life as logistically possible. He was the one that went and handpicked this team. Hear me out. I ain't condoling what the premier did. But what I'm saying, if a man bring you and put you up on a pedestal,
at least you show some.
They see in the time to kick the man when he down.
Yeah. You're kicking when he's down, right? Wow.
That speak a lot of value. No, you telling me no. They don't consider me as a BV Islander. But I was born here. A lot of people don't know that. And yes, my father toiled people. I remember many nights I couldn't see my father because he was dredging and landfilling Wisconsin 1 and 2 for them to have a road for them to have a land. I know how come he take piece of the pie and say, okay, claim this. He didn't. He was a hard-working man, wanted to see the best for the BVI. He was one of the first men came here at age 16 out of St. Kitts Nevis to run your telephone lines so that we could communicate with each other. 50 years he gave to cable and wireless so that the BVI out of the 70 years could have this live talk show. So when you all come up against me and say, I shouldn't say the country is a joke, y'all is a set of wimp. Y'all want to come fight now when I came out on the street and asking for signatures to stand firm against this kind of behavior. Y'all tell me y'all ain't doing it. Now what y'all want to do? Go sit down on the road like dogs for your own country. It's a shame. You shouldn't have to sit down on the road. You have to tell the Queen. Go ahead. It's your show.
Let me jump in here, because when the day is over, I think it is reasonable for me to bring in our beloved brother here, Brother Denisio, in relation to this whole matter of what you call the overarching recommendations. I think the others expressed it well. The whole point now, my beloved brother, from where you are sitting and from what you know from a legal perspective, lawfully, legally, give us your take on it. What are you seeing?
I'm going to quote you something from the International Court of Justice. The court, having found that the decolonization of Mauritius was not conducted in a manner consistent with the right of peoples to self-determination, the right of peoples to self-determination. Mark those words. I will come back to them. It follows that the United Kingdom's continued administration of the Chiapas Archipelago constitutes a wrongful act entailing the international responsibility of that state. Accordingly, the United Kingdom is under an obligation to bring to an end to its administration of the Chiapas Archipelago as rapidly as possible, thereby enabling Mauritius to complete the decolonization of its territory. The court concludes that the United Kingdom has an obligation to bring to an end its administration of the Chiapas Archipelago as rapidly as possible, and that all member states must cooperate with the United Nations to complete the decolonization of Mauritius. I want to be a lot. I heard the other speakers talk tonight, and I want to bring tonight a solution. As I told you, I live on St. Martin, and we belong to the former Netherlands Antilles. We are facing a situation similar to what you are facing in the Virgin Islands. I belong to a foundation that has taken the Dutch state to court during the last 4 years, about 4 to 5 times, and we're going back to court to them next month or within short. Why? Because due to our struggle, our continuous struggle in the legal trenches, we have discovered something very important. That is the right to self-determination. That right to self-determination is a shield, a weapon, and a barrier. Because according to the United Nations and international law, the right to self-determination is what is called a peremptory norm, a norm from which no deviation is allowed. That means that that Commission of Inquiry report cannot affect the right of self-determination of the people of the BVI. What is included in the right of self-determination? It includes 3 things: the right to determine your own economic policy, your own social policy, and your own cultural policy. And according to international law, that right of self-determination is so overarching that nothing can affect it. As a matter of fact, that right of self-determination of the BVI creates a corresponding right, obligation, I must say, on the part of Britain to respect that right. Therefore, even submitting a territory to an investigation against its will is an internationally wrongful act. That commission report is a wrongful act because it violates the peremptory right of the people of the BVI to a full or to their self-determination. And that self-determination is inviolate. Nothing can violate it. No commission of inquiry, no order in council, nothing coming out of Britain can violate the right of the BVI to its self-determination. And that is the armor with which we are clothing ourselves in our struggle against the Dutch. And we are challenging the Dutch state to come to court, where we are going to demonstrate to them that our right of self-determination, according to the same Western countries' standard, is stronger than any kingdom law, any order in. We do not have to tolerate of the Dutch state and our affairs. The BVI, I recommend strongly that the people of the BVI start talking to the British about their right to self-determination and remind them about that Chagos Island decision that came out on the 25th of February in 2019, when the International Court of Justice had to remind Britain that these people have a right to self-determination and you cannot go in there and do as you please. The court called those acts internationally wrongful acts. So people of the BVI, do not despair. Arm yourself with legal knowledge. Find out all you can about your right to self-determination and use it as your shield and barrier.
Wow. You mentioned a certain right, which is technically a barricade to all infiltration, which would violate the terms of self-determination. Can you highlight that? You call it a certain name. I want you to go back there for a specific reason, because I think for the most part, our people across the entire Caribbean region, Central Americas, are illiterate, well, should I say illiterate, ignorant to these things. And it makes it difficult when one does not know something to relate to it. Talk with us. Go back to that document.
1 second.
There are some very important as a matter of fact, if I can find that, I'm going to put it on the screen. Yes, here it is. And we are going to look at this. Here it is. Beautiful. So we can get a clearer understanding of what the lawyer is talking about. Very interesting. Let me clear this, because these terms, as I see it, quite interesting. And when the day is over, unless we have clear knowledge of what we're about, we're only going to make a mess of it if we don't understand it. We cannot afford to use emotion to emotion will not work. This document, as you see it here, is, I think, let me enlarge this so you can have a good full view of it. Neutralizing colonial domination. And this document was put together and submitted by the honorable legal expert to me for examination. And it makes when you go through this, and look at the terms of this document. The right to self-determination, you look at the terms of these things, which are not normally known by the average man or woman on the ground. And I think this is where the problem comes in, because where you don't know something, you're ignorant to it. And by virtue of ignorance, you can be abused. Yes? I need my brother to highlight these things for us so we can see exactly where we are and what is happening here. Go ahead, sir. Let us look at the same document.
Am I back on?
Yes, you are here in living color.
Okay, thank you. You are right. I have heard the other speakers speak, and I feel their pain. But at this particular point, we do not need, well, you know, we need in these kind of struggles, you need the emotional part, but you also need to be legal minded. Because as you pointed out, if you do not know your rights, you will be trampled. And many colonial people do not know how important that right to self-determination is. These rules and these laws, I have gotten them from their own sources. These are not things I invented. And these are principles that we have seen applied. I just read to you how the International Court of Justice dealt with Great Britain when it violated the right to self-determination of the people of Mauritius. And one of the key things to keep in mind is that once people of the Virgin Islands invoke that right, Britain has to pay attention, because they will understand then suddenly that their entire Commission of Inquiry report is an internationally wrongful act, because it is violating the rights of the people of the Virgin Islands to determine their own economic, social, and cultural policy. And those rights are enshrined in the United Nations Charter and enjoy the status of peremptory norms. These are things that people do not know about. But that is why I'm here to explain that you have these tools available that you are not aware of. That is why I wrote that paper, and I thank you for putting it on the screen. I enjoin you to share it widely. Let everybody on the Virgin Islands and the BVI read that and try to understand it, because that is where your tool lies. Demonstrating on the streets and complaining about what is happening will not work. You have to battle these folks with knowledge.
Wow. Brother, let me head across to Brother Willie. Do you think because now there are two things happening here in the BVI. Half of the people are saying we need Britain in here. The other half is saying, hey, we don't need the local politicians. Half is saying we can do our own thing. Half is saying we need Britain. Half is saying the local politicians will thief the money and then will whatever else. Half is saying we need Britain because Britain will make life better. The white people, on the other hand, are saying, oh, yes, the British subjects, we need to have Britain in here. As a matter of fact, a man went into a telephone place today. He didn't have a mask on. And you know that within the BVI, we're still wearing the mask. But the man went in there. He's a white man. He went in there without his mask. And of course, he walked in and they tell him, can you put your mask on? He said, no, I'm not putting a mask on because the territory is now under Britain. And they don't use masks in Britain. So I don't need to wear any hair. So guess what? They're dying for things to change so they can have the leeway within the territory. It's very obvious from what we've been gathering. Now, from what you're seeing, Brother Willie, from a layman's point of view, how far do you think this will go? Do you think the people of the BVI will be able to muster the courage to get this on? Or do you think it needs legal minds like perhaps Brother Denico here to manage this affair in a way that is going to make sense to the people? What are you seeing?
Yes, good question. But I want to say to the brother, with due respect, he's he's living in the old world, because the old world was ruled by constitution and human rights and all of that stuff. Let me tell you something, my brother. You have to wake up and understand the new world and the reset and all these plans, these global plans that you see they have. All of that is going to make of none effect those rights that you're talking about. See, we in Canada here have just experienced it under Justin Trudeau. They have violated every law you can think of under the charter, under the constitution. What has become of it? Absolutely nothing. The man is still there. The prime minister is still there. The government officials are still there. They should be in jail, but instead they are still there. And they have no apology to anyone. So the new world, the reset that these people are doing these days, they are making of none effect the courts, the constitution. That's what I'm talking about. So all of this that you see happening, I keep saying we need to stop, look at just the little picture of what's happening in the BVI and here and there, and look at the big global picture. There's a plan for 2030, and this plan, if you observe what is happening, they are unelected leaders that are leading the charge. Look at what happened in the pandemic the other day. Huh? Most of these people, you never seen them, you never heard of them, they were not elected. But who are giving the orders? Who are the ones giving the orders? And they don't give a rat's behind about your constitutional rights and how much you know about the law, because they don't care. They're ruling by force, and it's a new world. That is why I keep saying we have to look at what is happening. And as you talk about the right to self-determination, that's exactly what people need. Not just by a piece of paper, but independent living. I keep on stressing it. If we don't wake up and understand self-determination is about, as you rightly said, is about trying to get off the system, because the system that they've created, and it's going to be hard to, because they are making it so difficult that it's next to impossible. Look at what we are going through here in Canada. You cannot, even though they say they have lifted this and lifted that and restriction, it's a lie. I called the United States the other day, a place that I used to just go casually to go buy a burger over the border. And I said, what are the criteria for me to get over the border? Oh, you've got to be double vaxxed. And you've got to push that thing in your nose. I don't want none of it, so I've got to stay put. That's what I'm talking about. And isn't that a violation of the Nuremberg Code? It is a violation to tell me that I must take something in my body that is an experiment for me to travel. But yet they are doing it. It's against the Nuremberg Code, and they're violating and don't give a rat's behind about paper.
Well said. Well said.
Wow. I tell you, it's not a joke, my beloved people. And when the day is over, programs like these help to position your thinking so you can understand exactly what is happening. This is not a joke at all. Brother Goddard, I see you moving around there, and you're getting things sorted at your end. Brother David has made a very serious point, and I think while the lawful aspect of it is absolutely incredibly important, there is also the human, well, not human, the aspect where the man and the woman has unalienable rights, which ought to be protected. But as Brother Willie said, they don't care a rat's butt about it. They don't care.
It is not their job to care. And we don't give a rat's asset if they want to care. I want to correct Willie, because I've spoken to Willie on several occasions, and Willie had been lurking around the streets of knowledge, wisdom, and understanding, and he knows a lot of things that we've taught him. As we said, right, and I want to commend the gentleman for bringing it to our understanding as to you are right. What I'm holding up right now, I doubt some of you on this program have anything like this, but I am sure that you have documents for the corporation that turn into a slave. These documents may look simple enough, but this is a live life paper, aka a birth paper. Now, you notice this morning, everybody who went down to the governor's place, every one of them is a slave. They're a subject of the queen because the queen has tricked your mom and dad, give you a birth paper, and take away your birthright and been ruling through privileges. All of these slaves have privileges. You're privileged because you're a subject. I want to say this to my people. If tomorrow morning 500 of us take up that fraudulent birth paper and go down by the governor and burn that, the queen immediately going to get attentive to us because you are relinquishing her authority on you. A lot of us like to believe that big guns and big tanks are intimidative. Our people have used lightning ball and earthquake in diverse places to rule this. I tell you already, you know, the ackee is our national dish, but it's not because we eat it. It's not because we eat it. It's a national dish.
It's a secret.
Let me tell all. Hold on. Let me speak to the governor who is listening right now. It is we who share your breakfast. It is we who cut your lawn. It is we who fix your cars. And it's we you're going to live by, you're going to live with. So you see, all of this planning that the oppressors planning to come and capture more land, we welcome you. We welcome you. I urge you, come along. Because the battle is not for those weak-hearted. And the sweeter the battle is the hotter the battle is the sweeter the victory. I urge our people, let go of their fraudulent documents. You're operating your entire life under a fraudulent establishment corporation. You cannot fight your slave master with their slave documents. You have to fight the slave master as a sovereign. You're a sovereign. You were born out of your mother, not with the name and documents that you are walking around. I'm a BV Islander. I'm a Kitishan. I'm a Asian. Those are all brands. You know, like when you have a cow or a goat and you get a hot iron and you hold them down and burn them. Yes, that is what it means to say you're from the BVI. That's what it means to say you're from Jamaica. That is what it means when you say you're from Canada. You're nothing than a house slave, a subject. Wake up.
You're making a very, very, very important point, you know. And when the day is done, as you see, knowledge, my people are destroyed, the word says, because of lack of knowledge. And where there are no teachers, there will be no knowledge. Where there's no knowledge, the people will be destroyed. I think the time has come, and rightfully so, as outlined by Brother Gadites, Brother Paul, that we need to start looking beyond where we are and take steps to do what is appropriate where we are as the people we are. Yes? Not as persons, nor as subjects of the state or as citizens, but as the men and women of the land. That's who we are. And by virtue of that position, our rightful status is one which never changed as sovereign people. And it remains that way. How do we move from where we are as a nation back into that place of sovereignty where even the queen who has taken that position to herself will be able to respect the fact that our people are who they are. It takes this.
Kenny,
let me come right back, my brother, because this is we're actually running out. I can't believe that time has flown so fast. It's absolutely very interesting. We're gonna take a very short break. When we come back, we're gonna hear exactly what each panelist has to say as we close into the next half an hour, because this becomes a very, very important matter, that we open our understanding to the knowledge that is available And unless we inform ourselves, we are going to be subjects and citizens. I'll come back in a minute.
A new season has begun, and while transformation is inevitable for many, your life will remain the same if this is the way you want it to be. However, you can change your life with a better plan from Lifeline Financial Programs. Begin fortnightly cash installments with any amount, then watch your finances multiply into thousands of dollars as you create a brand new future. Life is not a dream. You only get what you put in. We know you cannot do it alone. And this is why Lifeline Financial Programs created the best financial plans to help you transform your life. Guaranteed. Call us now at 540-4555 or email us at lifelinebvilimited@gmail.com for more information.
Lifeline Financial Programs, the gateway to a better future.
To all our friends across the world who are here with us, we thank you so much for joining us. And of course, as we take you through the next half an hour, this is a very, very interesting discussion we're having here. And I think the idea is to reposition our thinking, to see ourselves in a different light, to see our lives in a different light, to see who we are in relation to how we position ourselves in a way that is going to be self-sustaining. Brittany's talking about independence or what you call sustainability. You hear this word flying around all the time. The self thing. The only way we are going to listen. You go to Jamaica, sugarcane was all over the whole place down there, and the place down there is, in many places are bare. St. Kitts is like a big football field. They built up a lot of houses all over the whole place. And other Caribbean islands, that's as they were fruitful places. But what has happened in St. Kitts, for example? They weed up all the sugarcane in St. Kitts, where they had a big sugarcane industry in St. Kitts. St. Kitts is now unable to export sugarcane to the world because some conglomerate told it that we will give you cheap sugar, man. You don't have to plan on, man. And the jackasses named politicians, senseless people, destroy their sugar industry and are now buying sugar from abroad and leave the lands like a big football field under the building up house and some of them. The same thing has happened in Jamaica with the production of food in Jamaica and other parts across the Caribbean region. Now, the stupidity of politicians is absolutely alarming, which tells us that politicians cannot be trusted to save us. They don't care about you, my people. You have to care about yourself. Number one. Number two, when the ships stop shipping the riffraff that are now loaded with tons of chemicals into the Caribbean region, and they will tell you plainly, if you look at some of the packages, for export only. In other words, certain people don't eat them. They ship them down here for you. So who are you? Some dog, some cow, some what? What the hell are you? And we are too stupid to even understand it. Welcome to the raw truth. We need to get to the place with knowledge where we get back to the earth. I must commend St. Vincent, and whichever company this is, I don't care. I'm going to give you free promotion this evening. This is spring water. We need to get back to the ground. All kinds of food coming out of St. Kitts, St. Vincent, Jamaica, Trinidad. We have the capacity to sustain ourselves. But we are waiting on Mucky Massa, wherever in the world they are, to send food. When a man controls your food, he controls you. You hear God talk about Aki and Salvation a while ago. If some of you get the logic of that statement, it make you fall flat on your face. The national dish in Jamaica is ackee and saltfish. Ask Jamaicans if they know what that means. And I'm sure many of them don't even know their history. Very unfortunate. The people must go back to the land from whence we came and re-establish our own industry to facilitate the sustenance of ourselves. You cannot depend on Britain because Britain is over that long ago. You cannot trust the USA because they're over that long ago. And if they give you $20, they want 100 for it. They give you 500, they want 5,000 for it. So you will always be impoverished because they are locking into your wealth, sucking it away from you. And you're sitting there looking like a bunch of idiots. Politicians, I'm warning you, do not allow yourselves to be a bunch of jackasses. And I learned just recently that many politicians signed on to some agreement across the Caribbean. But listen, I don't want to get into this, because it will sound very, very, very nasty when I talk about it the way I'm talking about it. Our politicians need to wake up and stop selling their people. That's the problem. And now Britain is here, and now this territory has lots of resources and money. And Britain needs some of that. You think Britain don't need some of the money you have here? This is a wealthy territory. How the BVI people are living here is unheard of in other first world countries. They don't know this. Let's face it. The governor before the one we have now, before Governor Rankin, the one who left the other day, told the premier when he asked for assistance for hurricane, the governor told the premier, oh, no, the BVI has a very robust social security fund. Oh, so they're watching the money. You see, I told you, right? This territory is a rich territory. First world style, talking about third world crap, they know better. The territory is rich. It has resources. And if Britain could tap into some of this, it would be amazing, of course, for British people who want to get in here. Oh, what a gold mine, eh? So BVI people have to fight like hell to protect that. Now, my question to Britain in this case, and I'm sure you're listening, what are the terms you are going to be implementing in the territory for the local people? Will they be shafted out of their inheritance in the name of being a British overseas territory? That British citizens can enjoy this at the expense of the local people who sweat like hell to build it? Or will you reposition the local man on the ground who's sweating like hell right now to find a bread, that of the trillions of dollars that are available in and around this territory, that the little man can stop sweating like hell because you, the British man, or the British agent, in your private capacity, is going to ensure that the local BVI lander or the belonger or the immigrant living here, as you say, for over 10 years, because now it's absolutely criminal, yes. And I must say this, criminals, immigrants living in the territory for 20 odd, 30 odd, 40 odd years without documentation. Yes, that is fraudulent. And it is things like these that Britain needs to correct. Yes, it needs to be corrected. And I'm saying this categorically. And I hope BVI government officials are listening. You take too long to correct it. It should have been corrected long ago. Now Britain has to be dealing with it. And now you're fussing. What are you saying? If I were to take you to court on the grounds of discrimination, you couldn't win me in court. These are the things that Britain are saying to you, my beloved brothers and sisters in the BVI, that these things are unlawful. It needs to be corrected. Put that in place for the immigrant. Put it in place for the belonger. Put it in place for the local. Open the economy that our people can help to rebuild. The problem we have in the Caribbean region is that our people have been we appear to be senseless while politicians exploit us. Because when you look at the BVI, no man here should be hungry. No man in the BVI should be hungry. None. Everybody should have food abundance. Everybody should have a good life abundance because we have the resources to make it happen. Why is it not happening? Politicians, what are you saying now? And now that Britain is on your back, I tell you, some of you are going to go to jail, you know. All right, I don't want to get serious because trust me, Britain is going to make sure. Listen, we have done evil to our people. Yes, Britain has no right to walk in here and take it over and do what they want to do because that is a whole nother discussion. It should not happen. The days of colonialization are over. It's done. However, if Britain in its rightful capacity is going to help this territory to grow, develop, and become, the first thing it needs to look at is to liberate the people that they can become economically sustainable. One, maintain their rights as a people in their lawful capacities as men and women as they occupy the land. And when that is in place, back off and leave them to live their lives in a way that can be peaceful and just and right. Simple. Managing them for 2 years is technically abrogating the rights of the man on the ground, and it can be criminal as well. Because when the deal is done, you're going to be violating their rights in a way. As the brother said, okay, fine, this is the world's the new reset. But when the day is done, where do we go with this? I'm going to close this program, and I'm going to ask Brother Gunnites and Sister Pemberton and Brother Willie to give their final thoughts as we wrap this up. Yes? I am saying nothing is wrong with helping the territory, but to dictate, regardless of the fact that they're a dependent overseas territory. It has nothing to do with the fact that we are all men and women of the land. The same bird sanctuary that you left here many years ago has now been developed into a boating capital, a financial capital, and whatever else in the hell of a capital it has become. It is an absolutely wonderful place. You cannot deny it. Are you going to come in here and abrogate the rights of our people because you have the right to do so? Come on, my British brothers and sisters, for the sake of the Almighty God. Stop, think, and do the right thing for the people. Don't use a commission of inquiry to defeat the purpose of development within the territory when you know well that Britain is as corrupt as hell as any other place in the world. Period. I have to say this categorically. Britain is no less corrupt than any place else. Drugs pass through Britain like everywhere else. And I am not giving credence to criminal activity. What I'm saying is that none of us are purer than the other. None of us. Therefore, let us help each other. If you have the big guns on your shore in Britain, we don't. And if you want us to grow, help us to grow. Use the guns to help us to grow. Empower us so we can grow. But don't beat us down as a people and let us look like a bunch of idiots across the world. And now the entire BVI is seen as a bunch of criminals, drug-pushing criminals across the world. I stand resolute against it. It is absolutely wrong to take that position. And I stand for my decent brothers and sisters in the BVI who are currently mourning because they feel, right as we speak, beaten down and insulted. They feel so sad because Britain is telling the world and the USA is telling the world and whoever else is telling the entire world that the BVI is a nasty place filled with drug runnings and evil people. Come on. Don't paint the territory bad. Paint the idiots who want to make it look bad. Paint them bad. Whoever they are, without apology. Whoever the people are who are making the territory look bad, paint them bad. But don't paint the territory to look bad like everybody here are a bunch of jackasses. I take like the protest this morning, I also take 100% full offense to that matter. Give credence to the decent people of the territory and help us put out the bad ones who are making the territory look bad. Some of you might have a serious problem with me talking like this tonight, but as under God, I tell you, if I have anything to do with it, it would never be the same thing. Let's fix it with dignity and respect for our brothers and sisters while we help them to grow and develop and become. Don't come in here and destroy our country because you have the authority to do it, my brothers and sisters from Britain. Governor Rankin, I call on you. Do the right thing. The beloved sister who traveled in here, I forget what her name is. Let's do the right thing for this territory. Don't hurt the place because you have the power to do it. Don't. I beseech you tonight. Do what is right for this territory and help us to help you. If you help us, we will help you. If you destroy us, you have nothing. The only thing you are seeing here is us. We are the territory. Come on, think, for a minute. We are the territory. Not the birds you left here 50 years ago. Not the birds. You called it a bird sanctuary. You didn't want it. Now we are here. You want to manage it for 2 years, my beloved British brothers and sisters? Is this what you're telling me? No, man. Let me open this to my brothers and sisters on this line because we really need to fix this. I could get very, very strong in relation to this matter, but come on. We need to fix this. As we wrap up, let me start with Brother Willie as we wrap up. Your last words, my brother.
I just want to say I'm reaching out to the people of the BVI. You guys are in a predicament, but it is there's still hope that things can get better and will get better. However, we have to be realistic in that all that is happening there, as I said previously, I just see it as a part of the whole, just a little tiny part of the puzzles. We are heading to a time when you will be needing a digital ID, and that digital ID is what will allow you to travel, to do business. Without it, you will not be able to participate in society. You will be getting CBDC, central bank digital currency. That is what will rule the world. Everything that you do will be trackable. You will own nothing, as they say, and you'll have no privacy, and you'll be happy. As Brother Kenny just said, the only people today who will make it, and as Brother Gadai say, are the people who have become people of the land. You will have to grow your own food, because even right now they're orchestrating, as I speak, starvation, famine. Just this week I saw an article that says soon we'll get nothing from the sea. We will get nothing from the sea because those things that we depend on in the sea will be extinct. We have seen 16 factories mysteriously burned down around the world. Most of them in the US, one of them even a plane crashed into it. So there's a deliberate attempt. They're paying people not to produce anything. They want starvation. They want famine. This is no dream. This is no joke. This is serious. I went into Walmart just this last week, and I said to them, why are the shelves looking so empty? Oh, there's shortage and no replacement, and they're blaming everything on the war, in Ukraine and with Russia, right? And so all of these things are being engineered. So independent living, sovereignty, even though I don't like to use the term sovereignty because sovereignty is for God, but because that means all powerful. But in a nutshell, we have to be self-determined, because whether we like it or not, we are heading towards a very, very precarious life. And the only way out is independent living.
Yeah, thank you so much, my brother. Let me go to Sister Pemberton. Talk with us. I'm not hearing you. You're not coming through. Turn on your sound.
My last and final word is wake up. Stop worrying about petty statements, but wake up. This is real. And for a woman who been broadcasting that this is coming to the ministers, they laughed at me. Hey, you know what you're saying. Wake up. Wake up. Because this is real. And when I spoke about famine, securing your natural springs, Kenny, I'm very proud of your advertisement just now with that natural spring water. Because I spoke to many ministers in the BVI about securing the natural wells we have here and protecting them, and nothing have been done. These people, let me don't make that statement. These people are taking life lightly, too lightly. Because when the ships them stop coming in with the suppliers, the gentleman said, I hear a lady said some days ago, Miss, I can't find this and this. They say it take over 6 months, it's still ain't come yet. The people, I mean, understand the people, them slowly but surely depriving us of food supply. Certain rice you can't see, you can't get. Back to the earth that God created for us. Let's use it. Let's make good use of it. Independence of yourself, your people. My only speak I have tonight, I can say it before I go. You see how your BVI landlords? You have children born in the BVI that is not of parents of the BVI. But you want the parents of the BVI landlords born in the BVI that is parents of not the BVI to fight for you? Ain't gonna happen because they don't have no rights. The children don't have no rights. You have been depriving them through England and the UK, stifling the people and the children them from the children having their birthright to fight for you, to fight for your freedom, because they are the future of the BVI now. They are the generation that is willing to stand up for anything and everything. But if you keep on choking them off, no one is going to stand. And don't think that the UK won't wipe out this little 24 square mile. Eh? Can you saying that we are here? They can replace us with 60,000 other people. Quick, bap, with a blink of the eye. Just get rid of them. Who is them? They ain't nothing to us. Be careful. Try with the right people. Align yourself with the right people, especially spiritual people. Align yourself with the sovereign people, people of God, powerfully of God, and set your bloody self free. Set yourselves free. If you took 70 years to build this, and you build a palace out of rock stones, you can take another 70 years to protect your palace. You did it by yourself. You were left here 70 years saying this is about poop. Get your head out of your bottom. I like to speak raw because that's the truth. The rawness of it is the truth. Get yourself in line. Free yourself from mental slavery, as Bob Marley said. Free yourself from mental slavery. It's time. This is the hour. This isn't the time to go back to slavery. Eh? This is the time. Stand firm, free yourself, and wake up. My last words.
Okay, my sister, thank you so much for your thoughts. And of course, it is absolutely interesting that you picked up on that point. The thing is, a man could come to your house and see how you fix it up and like it. Can he create one exactly like that, perhaps? Does he understand what it took you to create your house the way you have it? No. If he were to create one like that, how long would it take him to create it? What's my point? Wipe out the BVI, and then you try to recreate it and see how long it would take you to do the same thing. If it hasn't happened any place else in the world, then it tells me very carefully, very clearly, that it takes a certain set of people to do a certain set of thing. The Incas, the Mayas, their achievements are today mysteries in the world. The pyramids, we are still trying to figure out how the hell they did these things, because that was unique to them. I want you to get me, People are uniquely structured to bring out certain elements in our societies. If you go to, that is why America is what it is. That is why the Caribbean region is the way it is. That is why Canada is the way it is, by virtue of the people within these lands. The best of us within the land make it what it is. You could integrate, but how does the integration help it? Does it take it away from what it is, or does it enhance what is there? All of these are questions that we need to answer as we look at ourselves. Yes? So, very good points. Absolutely very good points. But I, like Chief, like Brother Gadites, like myself, we know that the BVI is absolutely a very special place. He knows, I know. And the only way we can preserve the BVI is by having the right people in the right places to do the right things to ensure that we get the right results. That's what we need. As we close off, my brother, what are your final words?
All right, then. I started out by saying it was a sad day. But a lot of people think that the sadness was for us, the righteous. But it's not for us, the righteous. It's a sad day because wicked have failed again. I know that Etta and myself and you, Kenny, speak a lot. We speak a lot. I just start talking to my dear friend Willie. But I don't know if Etta can remember. I tell her something about a naval base that is in full effect in that territory. I want the people of the British Virgin Islands to, you know why our people get upset so quick and rare? They don't know their value. They don't know how valuable they are. The British Virgin Islands, the financial institution, is very lucrative and rich. But you know what the BVI have? Location, 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 location. And there's a naval base that is going to be built there, because I think our people need to stop crying and start to walk. Let's stop look at doomsday. Too much of what they use fear to control us, people. That's why after the pandemic the other day, they start dropping the bombs, because they have us in a constant state of fear. When them say liar Jesus story in our work after the pandemic, because them use the Jesus thing for conway knocking. Them use Jesus for lock we down a God church every Sunday, go give away your money to them thief in pastor, man. And when they say a Jesus thing, this guy with blonde hair, blue eye now come out of the sky, them say, you wanna pandemic. When pandemic no work, them say bombs. But I say this to say that if our people only stop accepting the peasantry of this nasty colonizers, because they're uncivilized, when they came over to the so-called New World, they were very barbaric and uncivilized. They didn't even know that certain things like the herbs is for the healing of the nation. These people are uncivilized. The Caucasians are not the best of knowledgeable people, but they have something over us Maroons. You know what it is? They have collective security for surety. Yes, as much as the British Virgin Islands is 99.9%, they just killed one of my friends in a boat accident, a Caucasian, and him run to the governor's residence and the governor's protection shield him. If that is governance, listen to me. People need to stop love this chicken back and love them chicken foot, because those are what we call shitlins in America. Shitlins, you know why we call it shitlins? Because these was the what left off of the hog and the chicken and the goat. Goat tribe here, people about me. I name some tribe today. It was out of necessity why our people had to do those things. some of the captured slaves who were captured and forget how to go and hunt a bison, forget how to go and hunt a cow. You sit down and cry about McDonald's not open, Burger King not open. You're begging them to poison you because you're licky. You love likes. And that's why the slave master can know, say, no matter in time, or if they take the chain off for you, you're still gonna lurk around the tree for 3 o'clock when the pot cover knock like a dog to come and get feed. Enough, as Marcus Garvey said, some of us are imbeciles, vagabonds, have no use to our race, the Maroons, because they want so much inclusion. They sell out their race. The Caucasian, anywhere him go, him is a Caucasian. The Asian, anywhere him go, him is an Asian. But you have jackass out there. This is the color black. This is the color black. But you have people have walk around with passport, but complexion black. How ignorant can you be? How ignorant can you be? It's not the corporation have you as a slave. It's you love slavery. And because you love likes and lazy and don't want demand your rights, you live off of the privilege with them give you. As I said, there's a naval base going to build in the British Virgin Islands soon and very soon. The territory is going to get extremely wealthy because China is inside the territory. Russia is inside the territory. It's not a time for us to beg, you know. You know what an application is? It's a begging thing. Until you apply for your work, you beg somebody something. Sovereign people don't beg. We don't go to the governor's go beg. We don't go to no police station go beg. We don't beg no politician nothing because these are servants. A politician is a servant. A pastor is a servant. The governor is a servant boy. So for all of you people who are fascinated by jacket and tie and big house, you can kiss the darkest part of the asset because those days are done. Our people are not ruled by fear. We are ruled by wealth, and we know that we are the Commonwealth. It is written down. We are the Commonwealth. Okay? So the governor boy was sitting in the house, I feel like say, he might play God for come talk about it. It was a deep heart. He might come rule. Go rule your mama. No phone can't even rule the picnic will come out of woman belly.
Brother.
Excuse me. I'm
No,
sorry.
I totally understand your passion. And when the day is done, you know, we give credence to people here. But I could understand your fire. The whole point is, your point is taken. We understand what you're saying. But
I'm sorry about that, sir.
Yeah, let's do it respectfully.
I'm sorry to disrespect. I haven't disrespected the platform, but I'm just using my colloquial languages because I don't speak English alone, because English is the lowest vibration of language that anyone can speak. I speak several different languages. So when I'm communicating via my ancestral powers, reaching out spiritually to my people, I want to rise the rebel in them. They need to know that the word maroon means wild and untamed. And I don't mean wild like goat. I mean that you can't push me around because we know how to cook, clean, and wash. Our people have been very independent. And we need to get back to that state, as Etta say. We start cooking planting our own foods. We get back to the bush doctors them because everything's the drugstore at the pharmacy. Is not everything there. Help ourselves. Love yourself, people. And when you love yourself, you want the best for yourself. And when you want the best for yourself, you will see the God that you are. Because them say, let us make mankind. We are the gods. I rest my case right here, Kenny. Thank you. And thanks to the panel.
Brother Gadites, you know that you are a very important person in the relation, very important man in relation to the mobilization of our people, in relation to social analysis that you have been doing over these years. And of course, while you can be a very passionate soul, we know the levels, and when the day is done, I'm sure that we could really get upset by virtue of what we have been seeing. But as you know, and as I know, and we will continue to keep it very sane and reason at the level of common sense. And that is why the raw truth continues to be here every Monday evening at 8 o'clock, shared across all social media platforms. Yes, we have never had a problem with with any of them, because while we speak the truth, we understand very fully how to give credit and credence to all man. We're not going to tear down anybody, and no, we're not doing that. And when the day is done, yes, we get hot sometime, and Brother Gadites understands that as well. We really get hot sometime. But when the day is over, we really just need to keep it cool. Listen, the oligarchs fight with the pen. And as Brother Gadite said, the Maroons, to talk about those in Jamaica, fighting the British in the time when they did all kind of pitting and dropping there, who not shoot, who bust bow and arrow, who not get bow and arrow, get all kind of poison, that all kind of something happened to those people in the war. At that level, as they knew it. Where we are now, we are intellectuals. Regardless of who might think what, we know who we are. And I think the time has come for us to operate at this level to effect change within our nation and the Central Americas. To all our friends who joined us tonight, we thank you so much for being a part of this broadcast. To wherever in the Caribbean you are, our friends in St. Kitts, Antigua, Barbados, Anguilla, all over the Caribbean region, America, Canada, wherever across the world you are, we thank you so much for joining us. And of course, please share this with your friends. If you're joining us for the first time, please like our YouTube channel. Yes, be sure to like the channel before you hang up this evening, that when we send out our notification, you will be first to get notified. For those of you who need information, please connect with us if you need to know exactly what is happening. A lot of information is flying around the place, and false perhaps even. Don't listen to everything you hear. Connect with people who have real knowledge, that you can be kept stable as you move forward. Yes? Link up with people who have common sense. Don't listen to everything you hear. Yes? Britain is here in the territory and doing what it does, and when the day is done, I must encourage my brothers and sisters to remain sane and calculated. Note my words. Remain sane and calculated. You don't have to make a lot of noise and behave like you're silly. March up and down over the whole place and make up noise and all of that. None of that is necessary. If you don't have to do it, fine. Where you have to do it to send a message, fine. It's your right. However, we must, at this point in our history, remain sane and calculated. Because unless we are able to save ourselves, we'll be fried. Thank you so much for joining us. All the very best. And until we catch up next Monday evening, same time, same place, all the very best. And take care of yourselves. Keep it locked to PSI TV. All the very best until we catch up next week, Monday evening at 8. All the best.
Everything around us is changing. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Nothing will ever be the same. Yeah. Limitless scope for transformation. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yet no one has the answer for the pain. Yeah. Selfishness and greed have many blinded. Heartlessness has many people suffering. Why can't we see our brothers' pain? Yeah. Children are hungry and they are crying. Mothers are hurting and they are sighing. Yet all we care about is gain. Yeah, it's done for you.